okay?
Yes, good. Very good, thanks. Good. How are you? Good.
Good afternoon, Chris.
Good afternoon.
It was 114 days ago that you all but secured your Premier League status with that win over Wigan. Just a handful of days to go until your first game. Can you sum up what's happened in the last 114 days to this point where you're so close to your first Premier League match?
Well, I think we're all glad that it's come around, because I think when you have that initial excitement, you know that has to drop down to a level at some stage, and of course reality meaning that we're playing in arguably the toughest league that there is, and of course the work starts from the day you get promotion. It starts earlier, of course, for some than others, and I think it's normal that the players and mostly the supporters are going to be celebrating for a period of time, but we all have to come down to reality, and this is a very, very tough league, and we have to be prepared for it.
This club has been built on being in the Premier League, from the training ground to the stadium facilities, the money that's been invested by the chairman. How proud are you that it's you as manager that's been able to achieve this?
Well, incredibly proud, and when you walk through the door here, you of course see the wonderful facilities that we have here, but you are also made aware, as each player that signs, the history of this club, and more so what the club went through, and it's been a huge effort from a lot of people at this club, certainly before my time here, to get us to the stage where we are now, and there are a lot of people that need and have to take a lot of credit for that.
Being in the Premier League, obviously the interest from not just national media but international media is huge. You saw perhaps at the back end of the season, when you did get that promotion, you didn't finish the season as well as you would have liked, perhaps because of the attention and the spotlight being on the club. How important is it now that you and the players forget about being a part of the big time and focus very much on games?
Well, that's been most of the talk in the pre-season about what lies ahead as such, as opposed to what we have done in the past, and what I think I have got is a very level-headed group of professionals that have trained well every week and applied themselves very well for games. I think what we went through last season, where we had a lot of coverage last season, so I hope that's put us in good stead for what we are going into now. I mean, we've already found in this pre-season period that the coverage that we might have had last season and the media interest has certainly escalated tremendously, and I think it's something, of course, to get used to. But I think last season put us in good stead for that.
How crucial will players like Steve Sidwell, Liam Rosenior, Glenn Murray, people that have played in the top flight before, how crucial will their experience be both on and off the field this season?
Well, I think their experience will be as valuable as what it's been, and it has been valuable. I can only speak about my time here and of course their time here, but they've been very valuable players of the team and of the squad, and of course in Bruno, who is a very experienced individual, been at this club a long time, a wonderful captain, and yes, we will need all that, because we are very, very conscious of how difficult this league is, and we are a team that has got used to winning more games than losing over the last couple of seasons, and of course this division is far, far tougher, and so we will need all of that experience and them experienced heads around us.
Up first, Manchester City. There's no good time to play any of the big teams, but perhaps is now a good time because they haven't got into a groove, they haven't got into a run, and with their transition over the last year or so with a new manager and a vast number of new players that have come into the club, could this be potentially a time where you can take advantage of that gelling time that they might need?
Yeah, well, the honest answer is I don't know. They've been outstanding in pre-season, and if we're looking at a team gelling and using the quality that they've got, they have certainly showed that over a pre-season period. But the honest answer is you don't know. And we will all find that out. All clubs that are playing in their first games and the Football League clubs that played last week. What you hope is that when you get to that first game, that you've got the right levels, that you can look back on a pre-season and think that we got it right. For us, we're up against top class opposition that as we sit here now, we know they'll have more possession than what we do. So the answer is I don't know, but I know it's a very tough game, and I also know that we have to play them at some stage. It's a wonderful game for the club as a first game in the Premier League, but a wonderful game for the club and the supporters, and we have to make sure that it's a good day for the team as well.
Manchester City under Pep Guardiola probably weren't as effective last season as people expected them to be, particularly with his arrival. Do you think this season we'll see a different Man City under Pep Guardiola?
Yes, I think the intent is there with the players that they've brought in. You know, some of the talk was, of course, that they wanted to bring in defensively and players that can improve them defensively. Some, of course, have gone out, and I've only got to look at the signings so far, and I think that shows the intent there. I think they will be absolutely right up there. I mean, there's some very strong teams in this division. On paper, they have a wonderful squad and lots of different options. So I'd be surprised if they weren't right up there at the end. 22
days to go until the transfer window slams shut. You've made 5 signings already. So you've obviously got some players through the door. Are you anticipating many more?
We are working hard, and we would like to. We are in a market at the moment that's for clubs like ours is a difficult market, but we want to be the best that we can come the end of the window, and we also have some players that I would expect to see going out on loan towards the end of this window. But yes, I would like to think that we will do some work before the end of the window.
I'll chuck a couple of names at you now, because this is what happens in the Premier League.
Yes, it does.
Omar Niassi, Everton, is there any link there, a potential signing you could make?
No, just one of lots of, and I've heard that link before, but one of a number of names.
And Nedum Onua at QPR, is he a player potentially you could bring to the club?
I must admit, not one I've heard of a link, I must admit, but just one of numbers of names again, yeah.
What's the team news at the Man City game?
Well, we've got, apart from 2 injuries, Sam Baldock, who had surgery on his calf in the summer, and that's just the process of time, really. He's got back into sort of part training, but we're still expecting him to be out for a little while. The problem with that one was that he had to rest for a good period in the summer, so everything was later. So we still expect that to be a little bit longer with Sam. And we had some bad news on Baram Kayal, who came off a half-time on Sunday's game. What he has done, he's got a small break in his fibula, which was operated on today, and we expect him to be out for a period of something like 10 to 12 weeks. The good news is that it was a clean injury as such. Operation went very, very well. We don't expect any complications. Bad news for us and for him. Apart from that, we've been relatively fortunate in this pre-season period.
Anthony Knockaert will be fine for Saturday.
Anthony's fine. He played part of a game yesterday, behind closed doors game yesterday. So yes, he's fit and up and running.
And finally, from me, it might be a funny question at this stage, but what's the target for this season? Is it about survival? Is it about being competitive? Is it about top 10? Where do you set the bar?
No, we haven't set any targets. If I'm looking at an outcome, the outcome that we would like this season is to have a go and to make sure that our first season in the Premier League, that we've give it the best that we can, and that we've had a real good go, and we can have no complaints at the end of the season that we didn't do enough.
Hi Chris, I'm Rob from Premier League.
Hi.
You've got lots of experience as a manager now, and you've experienced a lot of highs and achieved a lot, but will you still be nervous the night before the game this weekend?
I think you're nervous before every game. I'm not so bad, I must admit. I'm not one that suffers nervous nights and sleepless nights. So I'm not too bad on that one. But yes, I think I don't think it'd be right anybody going into or doing the job that I do in their first game back in the Premier League with this one, and not be that little bit nervous the night before. I think it's normal stuff. Players exactly the same, and that's the bit that you look forward to, because you would rather be going into these type of games a little bit of nerves and apprehension than coasting along. So yeah, normal stuff.
Will you try and learn a bit from the newly promoted sides last season, because two of them obviously found it quite difficult and went straight back down, unfortunately?
Yeah, well, I think for us there are some great examples of teams that have gone up and have stayed up and have fared well over a period of time, and of course there are ones that haven't. So yes, we will look to try and get as many good experiences and as much knowledge as what we can do, and that's not just over this summer. That's as we go through this season, because everybody will hit difficult periods, and what you've got to be able to do is that you've got to be able to overcome them periods. So yes, any experiences that we can have from other clubs we'll certainly use.
And David Cropper arrived this week. Hasn't played in the Premier League before, but does he bring that sort of top flight quality to you?
We hope so. I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. We've followed him for a period of time, a good period of time. He's for us the right fit as regards his CV and the level that he's played, an international player, and age, really good age to continue his development, and really delighted to have him in.
And just finally from me, with Manchester City, the first visitors, they're in hotly tipped for the title. Do you think realistically they will go on and win?
I think they will be right up there. I think it's very difficult, and particularly when you see the spending of some in the summer, and of course what your Manchester United have done, and Chelsea, of course, who will be right up there. I think it will be very difficult, but I would expect with the quality that they've got that they will be very strong title contenders.
Thank you very much.
Chris, you said it's a difficult transfer window. What do you made of the figures that are being spent by clubs in the Premier League, particularly Manchester City?
I think what you do is you try and assess almost like a middle market. There are some transfers that have gone ahead so far that are so above our levels that I think you just have to almost sort of disregard them. But what the likes of your Manchester United and your Man Cities can do, they can do that. And good luck to them. It shows a real intent to want to be the best that they can to win the title, and ultimately, of course, a lot of this for the top teams is about Champions League and getting into the latter stages and winning Champions League. So I think you have to sort of disregard most of it, because it's something that we can't really affect, and it's not in our area as such. So but there's no doubt that I know that the level of transfer fees have gone up dramatically, but they're wonderful players, and when that will stop, I'm not quite sure at what levels it will stop, but certainly good luck to them if they can do that. We probably have to concentrate on the levels that we can affect.
Pep Guardiola spent a lot of that money. What have you made of his time in the UK after his success?
One thing that he's, I think, very open as saying is that he's learning all the time, and I don't think anybody can dispute what a brilliant manager he is. You know, for one, that what he has achieved, but I think he's also very humble about himself. He knows he's still learning the English League and of course the Premier League, and hence that's why I think he's brought the level of players that he's brought in to improve as he sees it. You know, a Manchester City side, and put them in a better position to win the title.
And just finally, what will be your final message to the players as they go out? Any different to anything you've ever done since that first day at Brentford?
No, it will be very much what I spoke about, is that, you know, come off the pitch and whatever the result is that you've given everything. Don't leave anything behind, and don't wish that you'd done things a little bit different. You know, mistakes will happen, and we are going to be up against teams this season that are, you know, better teams than us. You know, they've have better players than us. But don't come away from any of them games with any regrets.
One quick one for BBC South East, Chris. The Amex is a fantastic place for visiting players to come to. Brighton as a city is a fantastic place for visiting fans. How crucial are your home games going to be this season, do you think?
They will be crucial. It goes without saying that it's harder to play away from home than it is at home, and you'll have some teams that will maybe have unusual records. I know Newcastle in the Championship were very, very good away from home, and there will be some teams that might be similar, but generally, you know, it's about a home form. And fortunately for us, we've been very strong in my time here, and I think before here at the Amex, and it's going to be very, very important for us. We have a wonderful support that have backed us and have got behind us, and we'll need all of that. Good.